In this video, you will learn how to insert a new element in a sorted array. I will demonstrate how to insert elements in a sorted array with this project that you can program with me. But if you haven't done so, first go watch lesson 17.1 to 17.12 to learn more about arrays. When our program starts, the list box must display the names of 13 superheroes in alphabetical order. As you can see, Batman and Wonder Woman are not listed. Batman must go into the second position under Aquaman, and Wonder Woman must be added at the bottom of the list under Thor. The list box refreshes every time you add a new superhero, and this panel shows a confirmation that your insert was successful.
Hi, it's Gerard here from LearnDelphi. I'm a trainer in programming languages, and in this series, I help you to understand Delphi programming step by step and line by line. If this video is helpful to you, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And I also publish all the links I mention in this video in the description box below. In all our lessons, I start with the code immediately. I do not demonstrate how to create the graphical user interface. That is so that you only focus on the code of the lesson we are doing. If you want to follow what I'm doing but you want to save some time, you can download the starter project to start immediately where I start with this lesson. The starter and solution project files are available for download from my Patreon page at patreon.com/learndelphi. I also posted that link in the description. And I'm using Delphi Community Edition to demonstrate these lessons. There's also a link in the description if you want to download a free copy of Delphi. You can pause the video here and go do the downloads.
While you wait for your download to finish, I will go ahead and explain the algorithm that inserts elements into a sorted array. Let's assume we want to store the names of 6 superheroes in a fixed length array with 6 elements. You can also use a dynamic array, but in this example, we will only allow enough space for 6 superheroes. The last 2 elements will initially be the placeholders for the 2 names that must be added. And let's assume we must add Batman and Wonder Woman into this array. Because this is a sorted array, we do not need to ask the user for the position like we did in the last video. The algorithm that we must use will determine the correct alphabetical position. Batman will first be compared with Aquaman, and because it is greater than Aquaman, in other words, later in the alphabet, it must move on to the next index. Batman is not greater than Catwoman, so Batman must go into index 2 where Catwoman is at the moment. But we can't just push it in there, because it will overwrite Catwoman and her name will be lost. Like last time, we must first move all the names 1 position down to open up space in position 2. So Thor moves 1 position down from index 4 to index 5. Spider-Man moves from index 3 to index 4, where Thor was. Catwoman moves from index 2 to index 3, where Spider-Man was. Now there's a copy of Catwoman in index 2, so we can overwrite index 2 with Batman to squeeze him into the second position. If the algorithm can't find a position where an element can be squeezed in, then it means that the name must be added at the end, because its value will be greater than all the current elements in the array. For example, Wonder Woman is greater than Aquaman. Wonder Woman is also greater than Batman. Wonder Woman is also greater than Catwoman. Wonder Woman is greater than Spider-Man. And Wonder Woman is also greater than Thor. So Wonder Woman is the last name in the alphabet, and she will be added after the last name. In this example, it is index 6. Now let's see what we need to accomplish this. To find the correct position for a new element, we need a few variables. A string variable must contain the name of the new superhero we want to add. An integer variable must keep count of the names in the array. It will increment every time we add a new name. A second integer variable will keep track of the index as we loop through the array. A third integer variable will store the position where the element must be inserted. And the Boolean variable will be the flag that indicates that the position is found. Now let's look at the algorithm. Zoom in if you need to, and keep your eyes on the highlighted statement in the code, and also how the statement affects the variables on the right. You also may want to pause the video as I go through each line of code. The variable that keeps track of the count of names in the array is declared as a global variable, because it must retain its value from one click to another. In this example, we store 4 in this integer, because the array contains 4 names. We do not count the 2 placeholders at the end of the array. The user must type the name of the superhero that must be added to the array in an edit. We then read the text in the edit and assign it to the string variable that stores the new name. Let's assume it is Batman. We assume from the start that the position could not be found, so the Boolean is set to false. We also set the integer that stores the position to 1. Then we use a while loop that must cycle while the Boolean is false, and while the position is less than or equal to the number of names that are already in the array. At this point, the Boolean is false and the position is 1, so it is less than 4. So none of the conditions prevent the compiler from entering the loop for the first time. Inside the loop, we use an if statement to check if the name in index 1 is greater than the name of the new superhero that must be inserted. We use int position as the index here, and we assigned 1 to int position here. So this is index 1 of the array. Aquaman in index 1 is not greater than Batman, so the compiler enters the else branch. If the name in the current array is not greater than the new name, we increment the position to 2. None of the conditions are met to end the loop, so the compiler goes back to the top of the loop. Inside the loop, the if statement checks if Catwoman in position 2 is greater than Batman. The condition is true, so now we set the Boolean to true. This means that we found the position where Batman must be inserted. Like I mentioned before, you cannot overwrite Catwoman with Batman. Your code must now move all the elements from position 2 one position down. Let's follow the process. The if statement ends, and because the Boolean changed to true, the while loop ends. So this condition changed. Then another if statement checks if the Boolean is false. At the moment it is true, so the compiler branch out to the else statement. The code in the else branch executes if a position was found for the new superhero. In this case it is Batman. You have seen these statements in the previous lesson. This is the part of the algorithm that moves elements one index down, from the index where Batman must be inserted. In other words, from index 2 to 4. The for loop starts at the number of the current superheroes in the array. In other words, it starts at 4. Then it cycles down to the position where the new name must be inserted. In this case, it counts down to position 2. Inside the for loop, you assign the name in the current index, that is index 4, to index 4 plus 1, in other words, index 5. So Thor in index 4 is written one position further in the array, to index 5. The loop enters again and decrements the index to 3. Then you assign the name in the current index, that is now index 3, to index 3 plus 1, in other words index 4. So Spider-Man in index 3 is written one position further in the array, to index 4. The loop enters again and decrements the index to 2. Then you assign the name in the current index, that is now index 2, to index 2 plus 1, in other words index 3. So Catwoman in index 2 is written one position further in the array to index 3. The loop must only count down to position 2, so it exits. Now your array contains 2 copies of Catwoman. So the statement after the loop assigns Batman in the string variable to index 2. This overwrites the first copy of Catwoman. We also exit the else branch. Then the next statement increases the superhero count from 4 to 5, because we have one extra name in the array. Now let's see how it works if a position cannot be found for a superhero's name. The new value that we receive from the edit is Wonder Woman. You set the Boolean to false, and you make the starting point 1 again. You enter the while loop again, and the if statement checks if Aquaman is greater than Wonder Woman. It is false, so the else branch increments the position to 2. You enter the while loop again, and the if statement checks if Batman is greater than Wonder Woman. It is false, so the else branch increments to position 3. You enter the while loop again, and the if statement checks if Catwoman is greater than Wonder Woman. It is also false, so the else branch increments to position 4. You enter the while loop again, and the if statement checks if Spider-Man is greater than Wonder Woman. That is also false, so the else branch increments the position to 5. You enter the while loop again, and the if statement checks if Thor is greater than Wonder Woman. That is also false, so the else branch increments the position to 6. Now this condition is met, and it prevents another iteration. The loop exits, and the if statement checks if the Boolean is false. The Boolean is indeed false. That means the algorithm didn't find a position between the current names where Wonder Woman can be inserted. So the next statement assigns Wonder Woman to the next index in the array. The next index is found by adding 1 to the current name count. In other words, 5 plus 1, or index 6. Now all the placeholders have values, and our array is full. If you attempt to add another superhero, you will get an error. So it is wise to add code that prevents a user from entering more values than allowed. Now let's see how this can be done in a project. Here is my project in Delphi. Open the starter project that you downloaded and write the code with me. When the form is created in memory, we must display the names of the 13 superheroes in the list box. We will program the form's onCreate event. So double-click a blank area on the surface of the form. Scroll up until you can see the implementation clause. To save time, I already declared the string array here. The array contains the names of 13 superheroes. Although we only have 13 names, we declare the array with 15 elements. The last two elements are empty strings that serve as the placeholders. You make an empty string with two inverted commas or single quotation marks with nothing in between. If you have an array that contains numbers, your placeholders can be zeros. I also declared an integer variable that keeps track of the number of valid names in the array, so the number of names excluding the placeholders, and I assigned 13 to the integer for the first 13 names that are assigned. Now go back to the form create event handler, go above the begin statement, type var, enter and type str superhero as string. This string will store individual names from the array that will be added to the list box. Go between begin and end, type lst superheroes dot clear. We make sure the list box is cleared. Press enter, type for str superhero in ARR superheroes do. Press enter and type begin, enter again, type this statement. We use a for in loop to extract each individual superhero's name from the array, and we add the name to the items of the list box. Run your program. The list box displays the 13 names in the array immediately when the form is created. The for in loop that we used will extract all the elements, not just the first 13. Remember, we have 15 elements. 2 of them are empty strings. If you click the list box under the last name, you will notice that the 2 empty strings are also loaded as list items. Close your form. Now we will program the onClick event of the button to insert a new superhero in the array. Click the Design tab, double-click the Insert button, go above Begin, type var, press Enter, type str new superhero, comma, str superhero as string. Str new superhero stores the name that you type in the edit, and str superhero must extract each individual name from the array so we can add it to the items of the list box. Press enter, type int index, comma, int position as integer. Int index must keep count of the cycles of the loop, and int position keeps count of the position. Press enter, type bln position found as boolean. This is the flag that indicates if a position is found for the new superhero's name. Go between begin and end, type str new superhero, colon equals, edt new superhero dot text. Here we read the text in the edit and assign it to the string variable called str new superhero. Press enter, type bln position found, colon equals, false. We always start with the assumption that the position couldn't be found, so we make the boolean false. Press enter, type int position, colon equals 1. Make a new line, type this while loop. Press enter and type begin. Here you use a while loop that cycles while the boolean remains false and while the position is less or equal to the number of names in the array. Now type this if statement. We check if the name in the current position is greater than the name of the new superhero. Press enter and type begin. Press enter, type bln position found, colon equals true. If the name in the current position is indeed greater than the new superhero's name, we set the boolean to true. Remove the semicolon behind this end statement. Press enter and type else. Enter and type begin. Press enter again. Now type this statement. If the condition is false, we increment the position in this else branch. Make a new line after the statement that ends the while loop. Type this comment. Let's first set up the output, then we come back to complete the rest of the algorithm. Go on the next line. Type LST superheroes dot clear. We make sure the list box is cleared. Press enter. Type 4 str superhero in ARR superheroes do. Press enter and type begin. Enter. Type the statement. We use a for in loop again to get each individual superhero's name, and we add the name to the items of the list box. Make a new line after the end statement and type this statement. This statement confirms that the insert was done. It will display in the panel like this. No inserts will be done yet. We still need to write the code to insert the new superhero. This code is only to look if the new value in the edit can be squeezed into a position between the current names or if it must be added at the end of the array, but it doesn't do the insert. Before we display the output, we must first write the algorithm to insert the new name in its alphabetical position. So make a new line above the code that displays the output. Type this comment. Go to the next line. Type if BL in position found equals false. Then press enter and type begin. Press enter again. This if statement checks if the boolean is false. We set the boolean true here if a position could be found for the new value. So with this if statement, we want to program what must happen if a position could not be found. Type this statement. If a position could not be found between the current names, it means the new name will be the last one in the alphabet. So we must add it after the last existing name. With this statement, you read the new name in the string variable and assign it to the index that follows the last name of the superhero. We add 1 to the index that stores the last name to find the index that follows it. Now we must also program what must happen if a position could not be found for a new name. Remove the line terminator after this end statement. Go to the next line. Type else, followed by this comment. Press enter and type begin. Press enter again. Type for int index colon equals int superhero count down to int position do. Press enter and type begin. Press enter again. Type this statement. If a position could be found for the new name, your code must loop backwards through the array to shift each element after the position 1 index further to free up space where the new name can be inserted. So this loop starts at the index that contains the last name and it loops down to the index where the new value must be inserted. Inside the loop, you assign the name in the current index to the next index to move it 1 position down. To find the next index, you add 1 to the current index. This loop is just moving the elements 1 index further to make space for the new value, but it doesn't insert the new name into the appropriate position. You must still write the code to do that. Go to the end statement that ends the loop and press enter. Type this statement. Here you assign the name of the new superhero to the index where the position is. Run the program. Type Batman in the edit. Click the button. This panel must confirm that Batman was inserted, and Batman must be squeezed in between Aquaman and Captain America. Before we insert another superhero, notice that Thor is the last element in the array. At this moment we have 14 superheroes in the array. Also notice that Batman is still in the edit, and the button has focus because our last action was to click the button. We must clear the edit after a new superhero was added, and we must also set the focus back to the edit, so that the user can type a new name immediately in the edit. There's also another few issues we must take care of, but let's first add another superhero. Remove Batman from the edit and type Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman must now be inserted under Thor because she's last in the alphabet. Now click the button. Now check if you can spot the problem. Wonder Woman was inserted at the bottom of the list, but she kicked Thor out of his place. And we had 14 elements before we inserted Wonder Woman. We still have 14 elements, so we just replaced Thor with Wonder Woman. Let's fix that. Close the form. Make a new line after the last code that you added. Type this comment. Go to the next line. Type this statement. Here you increase the superhero count after you insert a new name into the array. Run the program again. Click the list box under Thor's name. Notice that you have 2 blank items. That is because you have 15 elements in the array, and at the moment you only have 13 superheroes. So those 2 blanks are placeholders for 2 more superheroes. Insert Batman again. Batman is added, and now you will see that you only have 1 placeholder under Thor's name. Remove Batman from the edit and type Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is also inserted, and notice she didn't kick Thor out of the array. That is because we increment the superhero count after each insert. Also notice that you used all the placeholders. Remove Wonder Woman from the edit and type Nick Fury. You get an error because the array is fixed. It only allows you to have 15 elements. We mustn't allow the user to insert more than 15 names. Let's fix this issue. Close the error dialog and close the form. Make a new line after the last statement you added. Type this comment. Press enter. Type this if statement. Press enter and type begin. Press enter again. This if statement must check if the superhero count is greater or equal to the length of the array. If it is, we must take away the user's ability to insert another superhero. Type btn insert dot enabled := false. Press enter. Type edt new superhero dot enabled := false. Here you disable the button in the edit to prevent more inputs. Remove the line terminator after the end statement and press enter. Type else and press enter. Type begin and press enter. Type edt new superhero dot text : := Enter and type edt new superhero dot set focus. If the superhero count is not greater than or equal to the length of the array, the user is allowed to insert another name. So here we remove the text from the edit and we move the focus back to the edit. Run the program. Insert Batman and confirm that it was successful. Notice the edit is blank and it has focus, so it is ready for the next input. Now insert Wonder Woman and confirm that she is listed. Notice the button and the edit are disabled and you can't insert another superhero. If you are happy with the result, close your form and save your project. Next time we will learn how to perform aggregations with an array.
If you enjoyed this lesson, please leave a comment. And if you learned something new, please like, subscribe and share my lessons with your friends. Thank you for watching, and a special thank you to my supporters on patreon.com. And happy coding. See you next time.